This is Charles Fry with Bikes and Carts here. I actually just started this whole page so I could do a little bit on this build that I got going on. And when I say build, I guess I should say restoration. So I got my hands on this go-kart. Pretty cool little go-kart. I checked it out online. Main reason I'm doing this is not only because it's a cool cart. Actually, that's not why. But because I couldn't find anything online about this cart. I found one video, actually one channel. They had two videos, I think, on this cart. They bought it, they started working on it, and they never completed the video series that I could find, at least. So if y'all end up seeing this, tell me what happened with your cart. So I got my hands on this thing, bought it on one of those little app buy-in sites. It is a 250cc. To the best of my knowledge, it's 250cc. From everything I found on it, it tells me yes, 250cc. 4-stroke, water-cooled GYC motor. It's got the, let's see, I'm gonna pull off this light and move things around a little bit, see what we can see. Kind of tight in here. Yeah, we're not seeing a whole lot, I guess, but it's got all the good stuff leading up to, it's going to get good right here, all the good stuff leading up to a forward and reverse transmission. It's got, there you go, it's got the what is it, a CVT transmission, automatic. So it's got forward, reverse, it's an automatic transmission. Tires are bad on it all around. The rear shocks are blown out, they need to be replaced. Probably not from driving it, more from sitting, but it looks like it's been sitting for about 10 years. Oh, it's not there anymore. Where'd it go? So 08 is when this thing was last registered, but it is, I don't know if you noticed, it's a green sticker, so that's freaking awesome. I can run this thing pretty much most of the year in California, I think. But it's a good little cart. I hooked up my little battery system to it. When I say battery system, I mean jump starter. I got all the lights to turn on. The blinkers work. It has a bad master cylinder to it, so the brakes don't work right now. I gotta replace that. I found the best price I found online was like 22 bucks. That's looking for the cheapest one. I took some leather conditioner to the seats because it has been sitting outside. They're not in the, they feel really firm and hard. I would love it if they felt really soft and plush. I'm going to keep conditioning it, trying to get them softer and softer. The color is gone on them though, but it is what it is. Now, it's been left out in the sun, like I said, so this actually used to be a red cart. Don't believe me? That's where it was covered up by one of these straps here, which recently fell off. So it was at one time a red cart. Oh, more proof. There you go, right there. That's the bottom of the gas tank. So it was red. Now it's all dried up. You rub your hands on it and you end up with yellow on your hands. But I took some of that spray wax. Everybody's selling it nowadays. It's really popular. The white right here is actually wax that comes right off. The spray wax actually seems to take this old, dulled out paint that seems to want to just rub off onto your hands more than it wants to stay on the cart, and it seems to revive it. I can take this, rub it now. It feels like proper paint. I don't have any yellow on my finger, which, if you look at this right here, has not been done. Yeah, you see that? So there's a difference there, big difference. I did, when I was cleaning it, turn the rag over a couple times to get past all the stuff that came off, but once all the powdery stuff came off, it worked out great. It seems like it's going to work out pretty good. I got to do the whole thing. The front shocks seem to work pretty good so far. I have not taken it for a run yet, but aside from that, when I first got my hands on it, the engine did not run. It kicked over when I plugged in, so the starter turned it over. When I say when I plugged in, talking about to that starter pack that I got, it's because the battery's dead on it, and I have not replaced the battery. I have not really invested anything into this thing yet. But the jump pack was put onto it, just clipped it onto the battery. I turned it over, and I did not get a key for it, so I actually had to bust out the cylinder and just turn the cylinder over without any of the key pins in it. I'll show you what I mean. So here's this guy. This is the lock-in cylinder. Not telling you how to steal and hotwire a vehicle, but when you make a purchase like this, you don't always get a key. So I ended up trying to take apart the, that's where it was mounted. I tried taking the screw off, and when I took the screw off, the pot metal just came apart. When I say pot metal, that's just really cheap cast iron, cast aluminum, cast anything. It's like a cast alloy, whatever this is. But it fell apart on me trying to take it apart. So from there, all the lock-in pins, the parts that the keys work into, fell out. So I just take a screwdriver, stick it in the hole, turn it over just like in the movies. Right now I gotta make sure this thing doesn't fall out, because when it does, it's not a complete assembly, so I can't use my screwdriver. But that just fell out. That's fine. I know where to find it. So from there I went ahead and got it to fire up. Not fire up per se, but fire up using some starting fluid. I sprayed the starting fluid right into this little hole right here. This is the intake for the, that's where the air intake goes. Once I did that, I kind of opened the throttle up, and it seemed to, the spark worked. That's pretty much what that told me. I'm not going to say it ran, because it didn't. It told me that the spark worked. I had fuel in there, nothing happened. It just, from there, I pulled the carb off, cleaned the carburetor out. I found most of the carb was pretty clean. Whoever ran it last cleaned it out. They either actually disassembled and cleaned it trying to get it running, or they were just really good about draining the fuel from the carb before storage. So that's an important thing, but I'm guessing somebody cleaned it out. So I found one little spot that wasn't cleaned out. It was actually nice and dirty. It was this little guy right in here. Bam, that guy right in there. It was just gummed up. It had no flow. It was solid. I tried blowing through it, nothing blew through. So I took a little pin, which I really didn't want to do, but my air hose didn't want to blow through either, so I cleaned it out a little bit, pulled out some really funky stuff, and was able to blow everything else out. Got it running pretty good, put everything back together. I do think when I took this apart, this line was connected here, or I think here, and this line was connected here. So these are vacuum lines right here. This is a radiator line, which on my model, on this cart, drops right down through here, all the way down the back. Then it follows this radiator hose, which this hose is mounted right down here on the bottom of the engine. But it follows that radiator hose up to right here. That's this little skinny guy right here. So that was coolant. I'm not sure if that's coolant that I found plugging this hole up, or if I'm just mistaken, but that might have been the case. I don't know. So I plugged it into right here. This is where the coolant runs through. I've got my thermostat right here, and that's where that extra little return drops into. So I fired it up after that, after I put everything back together. I've got, since my tank is off, I actually just took a Gatorade bottle, turned it upside down, took a fuel line, ran it through the cap. Nice and simple, but I ran it through to where when I drilled the hole, I had to kind of force the hose through, so it created a pressure fitting that doesn't leak, luckily. You know, it's trial and error. You might have to drink another Gatorade, try again. So from there, I went ahead and just turned the bottle upside down, because this system actually has a vacuum line that runs into the fuel petcock, or fuel pump it might actually be, which would from here run right up down over here where your fuel tank sits. And I busted that guy when I was trying to remove a bad fuel line. So if you look right here, this is the busted part where the fuel line was connected, and this hose down here is where the vacuum line was connected that I'm showing you. So I'm guessing the vacuum line put pressure in here, which helped fuel flow out through there. I was assuming also that the the fuel filter was clogged, or at least the whole system was clogged, because when I disconnected the line from the carburetor, it actually did not start leaking fuel, which it had fuel. I was expecting it to leak fuel. I had everything ready to go to catch the fuel, and it didn't. So I'm not sure if it doesn't pump or if it doesn't flow unless there's vacuum, or if it's actually clogged. I don't know. But long story short, I broke it. I'm gonna get a new one, and then I'll find out. So aside from that, though, like I said, I got the car put back together. I replaced a couple of vacuum lines, and when you look at where this is at, this was cut shorter. I actually cut a chunk of vacuum line off. It runs up through here, and the reason I cut that off is because vacuum lines down here, this one was good, but the one on this side right here was deteriorated. It was cracking, so I replaced it. And I'm not sure if this actually is a proper vacuum assembly, or if, let's find out right now, or if the, yeah, no, I don't see any vacuum line attachments on this. So yeah, that looks like that's going to be the proper vacuum line assembly, because that is my air intake that goes right here. One hole on that thing goes right here, the other hole goes right there, and right in here is my air filter. So that does appear to be the proper assembly. That's how I received it when I bought it. So I set everything up with that bottle. I fired it up. It ran great. It turns on every single time now. I'm really excited about that. It didn't fix the blown out shocks in the back, but here's another one. I jacked it up, got the wheels off the ground, and I threw it in drive and I threw it in reverse. It didn't really want to go into drive, didn't really want to go in reverse, but both drive and reverse got the wheels spinning off the ground. So I might have a bad belt, might have to go through and just work on the CVT transmission, might have to figure something out in there, but everything spins, everything's working, it doesn't stop, so that's why I got it jacked up off the ground. I don't want to try to drive it around at all here in this tiny little shop and blow things out, take out a wall, mess up my car, but that's where we're at. So we got it to fire, we got it to stay on, we got it to turn on every single time. It idles really clean. Forward works, reverse works, the rear shocks are blown, the front shocks work, the master cylinder is blown. I've got to replace these lines for the coolant because those are all cracked and blown out, as well as this one right here. It's been sitting in the sun, which that's actually 10 years in the sun. That might be typical, but I've read other places too that the lines that come with this they don't last very long. They start to deteriorate pretty quickly, and they should be replaced, you know, if budget allows, or if you see cracking. So budget doesn't really allow, but I do see the cracking, so we're going to work this into the budget and go for there. It's pretty cool though, pretty exciting. Never actually had a kart like this. I've had a couple of go-karts, but nothing on this level, because you got the racing seats, you got the 4-point harnesses, you've got independent front suspension, you've got independent rear suspension. If you haven't noticed yet, there's no solid axle going through. That's got a chain going to the front right there, which that's the transmission right there. And then on this side here, it goes to a drive shaft that meets to the transmission on the other side. And same chain. Really cool, really neat. I'm stoked. I'm excited. It's got bigger tires than I guess any other go-kart I've ever had also. So pretty excited. we'll see what happens. I don't plan on keeping it. Bought it to sell it. I'm having good luck with it. My girlfriend really likes it. And being that she really likes it, I'm thinking that might be a good idea to at least take it out a couple times. And I might try to send this off to somebody I know after I get it running and have a couple of hot laps on it. Yeah, I'll probably ride it hard, put it away wet every time, but that's fine. From there, I'll just send it off to someone that'll have fun with it, and that'll be that. But I think my next step on this build, on this kart, is to go through and continue with the leather conditioner on the seats and the steering wheel. That's a leather steering wheel. It's pretty cool. And start working on the paint. Get the paint all cleaned up. The lights do work. The turn signals do work. That mirror and light over there on that far side is dangling. It's hanging down right now. You can see it down there. But I gotta replace that, fix that, see what I can do. Try to get some plastic conditioner so that I can make all this stuff look black again. Everything can be conditioned and brought back to life. This stuff here could even be dyed if I wanted to. I probably won't do that, but it's possible. Instead, what I'm doing, just take them off, go through and get that wax all over everything, and we'll see. Probably not going to clean the rims up very much. The tires do need to be replaced, but one thing at a time. We'll see how far we get with it. I might just put it up for sale tonight, probably not, but we'll see what happens. And from there, you know, it is what it is. But hopefully I can get a couple more videos up on this. Might even get a chance to see it drive out in the wilderness, which that'd be pretty cool. I'd enjoy doing that, but we'll see what happens. Alright, I'm gonna hang up the phone. Y'all have a good night. Bye bye.